Hi and happy Monday. This is an episode for when you feel stuck in your writing practice. I'm actually filming on a Monday today, which is rare for me. Usually I film the week before, but it's been overwhelmingly busy here. So busy, in fact, that I haven't written very much. And I feel a little bit like I've forgotten how to write. Like I have no idea how I ever did it in the past. I feel very, very stuck. So, this episode, I am going to talk to you about what I do to get unstuck when I'm in a place like this. When I was in my early 20s, maybe even in my late teens, I read some advice that shook me up completely. It's a poem by Bukowski. The reason I'm reading it to you today is because I'm seeing it making the rounds again. I'm seeing people share it a lot on social media. Here it is. I'm reading you sections from it. It's called So You Want to Be a Writer. If it doesn't come bursting out of you, in spite of everything, don't do it. Unless it comes unasked out of your heart and your mouth and your gut, don't do it. If you have to sit for hours staring at your computer screen or hunched over your typewriter, searching for words, don't do it. If you have to sit there and rewrite it again and again, don't do it. If it's hard work just thinking about it, don't do it. If you first have to read it to your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your parents or to anybody at all, you're not ready. Skipping over some bits. When it's truly time, and if you have been chosen, it will do it by itself and it will keep on doing it. Here's my advice, dear listeners: do not follow this advice. I'm sharing this with you because advice like this ruined my life for many years. It made me feel like I did not deserve to be a writer, like I was not the correct type of person to be a writer. I've seen this with a lot of my students too. I've seen this with the people I work with. I've seen extraordinary writers succumb to advice like this or to their own notions of what the writing process is supposed to look like. I've seen it make the rounds again. It sounds compelling and exciting, or at least it did to me as a young writer who was unsure and did not have anybody to tell her that struggling was okay, it was appropriate, it was good. Nobody to tell me that most writers struggle. Bukowski was very unwell. He was very unhappy and frankly a liar because he too struggled to put pen on page, to create value to write. So, when you're stuck, please don't take that as an indication that this is how you will always be, or that if you are stuck, you don't deserve to be a writer. That is not true. The most celebrated writers in the world have struggled, have been stuck. Any kind of birth is struggle. Any kind of creativity, creation is struggle. It's tension. And he says, oh, if you need to show it to people, read it to people first. Don't do it. That's not true. We all need readers. We all need witnesses. We all need advice. We all need a community. So, what am I going to do starting today to reinvigorate my writing practice? Remember, this is good advice for those who also don't have a writing practice and are looking to start one. All right? The first thing I am going to do is be patient with myself, especially when it comes to the quality of my writing. Um, it's important as I reestablish my practice to have and develop a positive, um, non punitive relationship with the writing. So, Rachel Scheller says in a Writer's Digest story about creating a lasting writing practice, that there's an old adage in gardening: sleep, creep, leap. Some of you must have heard of this. This typically refers, she says, to the growth pattern of newly planted perennials. The first year, the plant will sleep. The second year, the plant will creep. The third year, the plant will leap. And she says that as your writing practice deepens over time, you will grow as a writer in the same way. You may think in the beginning that you're getting nowhere, but as you keep up at it, as your pages pile up, you are literally growing yourself as a writer. She goes on to say that in the beginning, this development may not be noticeable. That's the sleep part. Before you know it, she says your prose or your poetry will begin to creep along and then leap right into greatness. So, this kind of development, of course, takes time. And though I may not be a new writer, this is definitely a new period of my writing. This is a new stage of my writing. It's in my daily life, in my professional practice, in my writing practice, in the projects I'm working on. So, I have to give myself time. I have to give myself time to first soak things up and then to slowly start to develop the skills and the inner resilience, and finally for it to truly flower. So, do the same thing for yourself. I would recommend. Give yourself the same time and patience you would your plants when you first plant them. The next piece of advice is something you will hear me say over and over again to myself and to you. The important thing is to show up, whether you're stuck or not, no matter how you're feeling. So I'm going to do that. As Stephen King says, don't wait for the muse. Your job is to make sure that the muse knows where you are going to be every day, from 9 till noon or 7 till 3. If the muse does know, I assure you that sooner or later the muse will start showing up. So, pick a time every day. It can be an hour, 15 minutes, whatever. Show up. I'm going to do this too. Contrary to what Bukowski said, motivation rises out of action. As Mary Josh puts it, once you start, motivation follows. You see, she says, motivation is the result of action and not its cause. When you get started, even with 2 sentences, you tap into active inspiration that will help you establish a joyful daily writing habit. Another thing I will start doing is very actively, intentionally, and relentlessly seek out wonder and inspiration. For example, this week I stayed outdoors, just reveling in the relatively warm weather, just allowing myself to soak up the beauty of this world. If I can't find it, that inspiration, I will keep looking. I will keep trying to find new ways and new avenues of pleasure, encouragement, and inspiration. Dolly Parton, for example, says that she finds this in cemeteries. She gets inspired by visiting them. It probably took her a while to discover it, that going to cemeteries helps her write her songs. So, this week, find something, anything that makes your blood beat, that gets you going, that gives you hope, that thrills you, that encourages you, that excites you, so that when you come to the page, you are already pulsing with life and you can pour it into your writing. Finally, I'm going to return to something that used to be an integral part of my writing practice but just somehow slipped away. I encourage you to do this as well. Craft a ritual for when you are going to start writing. Something you do specifically before you're going to start writing. Make this something beautiful, pleasurable, and something doable, something reliable, something you can do anywhere, anytime. Nothing that will be a barrier between you and the writing. For example, Toni Morrison had a daily writing ritual. She wrote very early. She started usually at dawn before the sun was fully up. So she said, I always get up and make a cup of coffee and watch the light come. This ritual comprises my preparation to enter a space I can only call non secular. Writers all devise ways to approach that place where they expect to make the contact, where they become the conduit, or where they engage in this mysterious process. For me, she says, light is the signal in the transaction. It is not being in the light, it's being there before it arrives. It enables me in some sense. So, different writers, many writers do have rituals like this, and different writers have different ones. I'm pretty useless in the morning, so my rituals don't have anything to do with that time. But I recite a book, I used to, and I'm going to start doing it again. Recite a Buddhist mantra, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, before I start. I listen to musics. There are specific songs, 2 of them, that invoke for me what is holy, what is transcendent, and really for me, invoke the potential power and ache that it is for me, that I want to transmit through my writing. So if you don't have one, make your own ritual too. All right. Today's writing prompt. Write a letter to your writing, as if your writing was a person called writing. In this letter, tell the writing that you love, adore, admire, and value it. Encourage it to visit. Write to it lovingly with awe and wonder. In your letter, tempt it, charm it, encourage it to come to you. Promise to honor the writing, to follow it wherever it will take you. And begin. Thank you so much for listening with me, for writing with me. I hope this helps you get unstuck. I hope this helps you reinvigorate my writing practice. I know that talking to you about it, that thinking deeply about it, is going to help me. So, have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves and Until next time.